Oh, where should I go now? Okay, what are our options this time? Another 4 oh god. Nope, we have all the options in the world. Okay. The west suburbs. The bookstore, again. The park. The diner. Interesting that this is in the park and not the diner. Wow. He gets a break? The beach. And the arcade. Intriguing, intriguing. Yet again, I'm like... Let's go see what Crabman has to say. You know I'm excited to talk about crabs. Oh my god. There's a crab in the background. Let's go! Waves comb through the sand, unearthing shells, stones, and the occasional hermit crab that's tunneled too closely to the surface. There, out on the horizon, is the sun, believe it or not. Streaks of red and yellow pull like thread throughout a too big sky, clouds soaking in the light and darkening like cotton candy. It really was worth the wait. How many times have you actually watched a sunset? Between classes, homework, friends, and everything else, it wasn't often you stopped to look up. There were always too many things going on, but you've plenty of time now. More than enough to spend an hour or two watching the shoreline. While most people are departing the beach for the day, you kick off your shoes and take your first steps onto the sand, still warm from a day cooking in the summer sun. You don't walk for very long before you see a nice flat rock in the distance. Stone juts out from the shoreline, slick with seawater, and on the top you think you see a body. That or it's a giant starfish. As you make your way to the edge of the beach, toes dug deep into the wet sand, a distinctly human shape moves, and you realize it's that guy from the diner. Not Chris, that's a totally different guy. It's Vince, sprawled out in the sun, and as happy or not as nervous as you've seen him. He rolls over onto his stomach, arms and legs. You're so pale. What do you mean you're just like laying out in the sun? Arms and legs outstretched as he basks in the last dregs of sunshine. He has the tiniest little shimmy. He arches his back, opens his eyes, sees you, and then just about freezes in place. What is this supposed to mean? Question mark. It took him a little while to warm up to the last time you saw him. Maybe it'll happen again this time if he isn't feeling mortified enough to bolt right away. When you don't speak up, Vince looks down, suddenly interested in whatever little specks he's newly discovered in the rock trapped beneath him. For a while, the only sound that you hear is the waves washing up against the shoreline, and the faint ringing of a bell from the pier. Hi. Hey. Hey yourself. Hey, it's for horses. I was thinking it, but I wasn't going to say it. Almost as soon as he opens his mouth to say it, he snaps it shut. Vince swiftly turns his head away, the tips of his ears blush pink. You're right. I'm more of a free-range, grass-fed human myself. You? His head tips down, and you catch the barest puff of laughter. Yeah, me too. Weather's, nice. Vince rolls over onto his side, curling up to take as little space as he can. He offers a seat with a wave of his hand, offering implicit permission to encroach on his prime beach real estate for now. Oh.
We can switch. I can sit on the ground and you can sit up here. You shouldn't have to excavate sand from, everywhere.
I like doing that. No, it's cool. I appreciate the consideration, though. Sure, no biggie. You plop down on the edge closest to land. Another beat passes, then another as the two of you watch the evening setting in. Not too far away, you hear the sound of an air conditioner cutting short and storefronts jingling as their owners exit. Lights go off one after another. The seagulls still caw overhead, and you watch as one skillfully dives into the ocean to retrieve its dinner. Pinched in its beak is what you think might be a little crab, but as you start to point to it, you realize Vince has turned away from you, staring out at the water. Evidently, he isn't very interested in small talk. It wasn't as though he'd given anything but that impression when you met him, but he did invite you to sit with him. He did also mention he was trying to get better at talking to people. Maybe he needs some help with a conversation starter. You have plenty of those, don't you? Maybe even a fun icebreaker to shake things up. Do you... Oh, Your mouth all but seals shut when he does. The two of you staring back at one another before you concede him the floor rock. He sits up, turning to face you. I was going to ask if you were hypothetically cryogenetically frozen for 100 years, what would be the first thing you ask? What? Wait, fuck. Vince is sheepish, his lips pressed together as he worries little crescents into his fingertips with his nails. It's an odd question, but it's obvious on his face that he knows that. Well? What an interesting selection of things that I can say. This sounds sports ball-y. I know nothing about sports. I'm not sure that I like this, because it's like 100 years into the future. I'd want to know what's happening. I'm not going to question whether or not, like, he's serious. Like, I don't know what knock knock means. The problem with this is I can't go back. We've already shown that they don't allow to go back. That's interesting. You can do things behind my head with the arrow keys, but there's no back button. Bothers me. I guess this, because it's at least asking about the world, even if it is sports ball. Like, I would... If I woke up 100 years in the future after being cryogenetically frozen, I'd want to know more about, like, technology advancements, but I'll ask about sports, I guess. What do you think, with the records from the last few years? No. Vince laughs, the sound bubbling up like sea foam on the shore. Can I ask you another question? Shoot. You watch as he fiddles with the sleeves of his hoodie. You hadn't thought about it until just now, but isn't it summer? Also, he's not wearing a hoodie, but continue. It's chillier near the beach, sure, but is it really cold enough to need a jacket? Actually, he had the same jacket on the last time you saw him, too. No, he didn't. Continue. If you were a rock, what kind of rock would you want to be? Okay. Give me the options. I was definitely thinking, like, a geode. Personally, I'd say some sort of crystal. I really like amethyst. But I think largely because when I was a kid, I got an amethyst geode. So it still kind of fits with the geode thing. Yep. I'd say a geode. I think I've seen some of those at the store. Yeah, the store, where you can notoriously exchange money for goods and services. The corners of his lips twitch upward, Vince peeking at you from the corner of his eye, caramel brown softening just a touch. Okay then. Hold on. Huh? He rocks back in his seat, head tipping down as he tries to refigure out how to position his legs. His ankles all but hover over the edge now, the cuffs of his jeans caught on the stone. They put them a little closer, and it feels like your makeshift bench is suddenly too small. Can I ask a question? Oh, yeah, sure. Sorry, didn't realize I was going on and on. If you had to decide, are you a lemon or a lime? You've been asking me weird questions. Less weird than what you asked me? His lips press into a thin line. Vince sucks in air between his teeth and... Are you tasting lemons and limes in your head? His face has literally folded in on itself. Maybe. Lime. Limes are smaller and the rinds are more bitter than lemons. You're calling yourself bitter. He shrugs noncommittally, turning his gaze back towards the horizon. Used to be. Not as much anymore. I could ask multiple questions. Between cooking and cleaning, which do you prefer? I think cleaning. Okay. I don't mind cooking. You prefer cleaning, but you don't mind cooking. Okay. I'm alright. I mean, as alright as any guy living on his own could be. He picks off stray lint on the... Okay, interesting though, because in the previous demo, he and Jean lived together. That made it sound like he lives alone, like he's not Jean's roommate. Intriguing. He picks off a stray lint off the cuff of his sleeve, flicking it onto the beach or wherever the coastal breeze might take it. Thought you lived with Jean. I mean, yeah, but he's usually busy, work and stuff, you know? I don't wait up for him or anything. Wasn't that 2 questions? Who's counting? Me, obviously. He snickers, pausing only to look back over his shoulder before he settles his hands behind him. Something about the beach seems to put him at ease when you compare the vision of him in the diner and Jean's patrol car to now. He was fidgeting back then, shoulders pinched shut like a door hinge. By comparison, out here, Vince looks like he belongs. Is it easier now? He tips his head in your direction, his hands fidgeting with the longest strands of his hair that had fallen out of their careless bun. What is... talking with me? What? Oh. Yeah. Sorry. For what? The 20 questions and whatever. You only asked 2, remember?
Yeah? Well, who's counting?
Me, obviously. His voice turns teasing, clearly pleased to lob your own words right back at you. It's no big deal, I was just wondering why you were asking them. Most people start with a hi, how are you, and not, what's your darkest secret? I did not ask that. I try to just ask questions so people kind of naturally fill the space, conversation-wise. He nervously touches the back of his neck, but suddenly unable to look at anything but the open sky that you both share. People like talking, and I'm not good at it, so I keep the... With that same hand, he gestures vaguely at nothing, as if that explains what he means. It's easier. Is it that you don't like to, or just that you don't know what to say? Both, kind of?
I just haven't in a long time. So, you know, it's like a muscle, and whatever.
Don't use it, then you suck at it. Like, you get it, right? Yeah, it can be pretty hard sometimes. Yeah, it isn't like I don't want to be around people. I just don't have to, you know, but people take it as me being, like, rude. You and me both. This is cool, though. Getting to know you, and it's nice having someone to talk to that isn't housemate. Or the delivery guys. He runs his index finger along the top of his knee, the dark denim of his jeans tugging slightly. Nice getting to know you, too. Maybe we should really play 20 questions next time. Maybe. I was blacking out trying to think of, like, even 2 questions. Kinda glad you asked them instead, so I didn't have to. They don't all have to be groundbreaking. They're cooler if they are, though. More interesting answers than, like, what's your favorite toast? Do you have one? No. I think. That I think inspires confidence. Yeah, I'll try to think of an answer for next time. So he says, but he's at least a little entertained. He's not very good at hiding his emotions. I need to head out and make dinner, but maybe next time you can just come over. To your house? What? Oh, fuck no. Wait, I didn't mean it like that. I'm just giving you crap, man. Oh. Then, you know, next time you see me, you can say hi, or I guess I can too, if you're cool with that. I'm cool with that.
Alright, I'll, make like a wave and whoosh.
The line itself was already so lame, but that whoosh. You watch as he goes with a wiggle of his arm. I did literally the same exact thing in real life. Slowly sliding off of the rock before retreating from the beach, his shoes dangling on his fingertips as he kicks up sand with clumsy abandon. It doesn't take long before you decide to follow suit, heading off of the beach and towards the town square, in search of your last meal of the day. Turns out the sunset isn't the only thing around that's well worth the wait. Wow. The door closes behind you with a soft click. After a long, eventful day, you wrap things up with a nice hot shower and get into some fresh pajamas. As you head towards the bed, you can't help letting out a small laugh and shake your head when memories of today flash through your mind. There isn't a dull moment around here, huh? You plug your phone in before you pull the covers back and flop onto the comfortable mattress. Right, time to settle in for my nightly scrolling. Let's see. That's what I was trying to do. Oh my god. Hey guys, by the way, the social media thing doesn't work. The words and colors begin to blur on the screen, and your eyelids start to droop like they're held down by heavy weights. I think I can finally sleep. With a sleepy press of a button, your phone screen turns black, and you limply plop it beside your pillow. Your eyes shut as the soothing sounds of the beach from the slightly open window lull you to sleep. Off to the dream world you go, preparing you for another eventful day tomorrow. And today is Monday! Yippee! Who should I talk to today? Well, there's one option, so... Okay. What do we got? The West Suburbs. We've got Wyatt. Should I be, like, letting you guys know who each person is, or do you think you got it at this point? Oh, believe it or not, Andrew's at the bookstore. I'm really questioning it. Favorite character so far. What is this place? And the general store, which looks a lot like the town square, just by the way. Let's go bother him. Yippee! Oh, okay, this place. Okay. It's so quiet in Brine Bay in the morning that you think you could hear a pin drop anywhere. For a town this small, you would have thought there'd be a chorus of good mornings and hey to people as they passed one another by. But maybe that kind of thing only happens in movies. It'd be more interesting if there was some beachy rock anthem as a backdrop. As you approach the center of town, the pulse of its sleepy denizens picks up, and you hear the sweet crooning of a street performer, strumming and singing along to some song you swear you heard on the top 40s the other day. Beside him is his harmonic complement, buzzing away on a harmonica for a jazzy interlude. They're good, but not enough for you to stay all morning? I don't know. It's the kind of distraction that works for about 1 or 2 songs. But after, you'd rather make the most of your very empty schedule and find something more interesting to do. You start scrolling through your phone, swiping your thumb against new searches and lists left over from before you fell asleep last night. As you start to search for somewhere to stand out of the way, you find the slowly swaying figure of a man that acts more like a metronome than a person. Oh, hi. Vince is... No way, you're here? Vince's attention fixes on the musicians at play, fingertips tapping idly at the tops of his knees, offbeat for a second until he finds the rhythm. He's murmuring something to himself, tapping against his dark jeans. As he tips his head up, about to let loose a note, he catches your gaze instead. That sunny expression of his gives way to its usual cloudiness. His lips seal and Vince is suddenly all sharp angles, fingers tenting where they rest, as though he's forgotten how to relax the joints in his hands. His voice is a little higher than it usually is, and he interrupts himself with a cough into his hand. Vince slips forward again, headphones swinging as he does. Hey. How long were you... He loops his finger through the air, as if gesturing to the entire plaza. I didn't see anything if you didn't want me to. Oh, Great. So you saw the whole thing. The whole thing. Even the part where you started doing the jitterbug. What? Oh. He snickers, the back of his hand pressed against his mouth as he peeks at you from the corner of his eye. His shoulders lean forward, arms dropping back into his lap. Yeah? How was it? Your footwork could use some help. Mind if I... You gesture towards the seat behind him? Beside him. He shakes his head, making room for you and your things. He draws into himself, and the two of you share in the unquiet of the town square. Behind you, the water of the fountain babbles a beat off from the performers, who have since changed keys from pop songs to an unfamiliar ballad. Oh, that one's... Vince doesn't turn to look at you, but you watch as he turns a hand towards the sky, digits moving along what you can only assume is the neck of an invisible instrument. That song, they've played it before, but it sounded different the last time. How can you tell? He shrugs noncommittally, as if that's a fine substitute for an answer. But you listen with him while he searches for the words, and you try to pick out what's unique about the melody. I hear them all the time when I, come through. I think they're trying for original songs now instead of covers, but people don't really stop to listen to them as often. True to his word, you notice some of the listeners have dispersed, but you lend your ears to the chorus to try and hear what Vince listens for. It's a light, breezy song, but you don't think it's eclectic enough to never make it to the radio. What's it sound like to you? What does it sound like to you? I asked you first. His gaze is expectant, attention firmly placed on you in a change of pace from the usual. Where Vince normally searches for any reason to not see you, he wants an answer, though what it is, you can't say that you know. It sounds like... I'm between I think they sound nice and it could use some work, but it's not bad. I mean, there's nothing in the text that says that they necessarily sound bad, so I guess I'll say nice. Nice how? I don't know, it's nice. Easy on the ears and I like it. Nothing else? No, it's, cool. I guess it's on me for not asking you to be specific. The song continues on, and the two of you listen in contemplative silence as Vince muddles his way through each successive note. Against his better judgment, you catch him swaying in the corner of your eye, his fingers pressed against imaginary strings. With a furrowed brow, you watch as his concentration only furthers until he hits a sour note. I think it's that one. I didn't realize you had perfect pitch. His shoulders draw in, and Vince glances in your direction. His hands instinctively go to the back of his neck, as if it does anything to hide the embarrassment. I don't, I just listen to a lot of music. Yeah, I can tell. He has his headphones nearly all the time. You had to imagine that he did spend a lot of time listening to it when he was going around by himself. What's wrong with what they're playing? You sounded like you had it all figured out. It's just, I think if they picked a different chord, it might resonate better. It just sounds like they're trying to get away from the pop vibe that they have, but it's boring, like it's just more pop trash. Not that there's nothing wrong with people liking pop music and whatever, but it didn't sound the way they should. This one sounds righter. Gene likes that kind of thing, but it's... He waves it off with his hand dismissively. It's not for me. That kind of sound would work for him. Vince allows the words to fall away, his lashes lowering a fraction as he returns his attention to the performers again. The lead singer longingly mourns a relationship, wistful as she croons about how she's going to make another mistake. Sorry. Before? Sounding pretentious, maybe? I sound like those dicks that say every oldie is better or whatever. Nah. I just didn't know you cared so much about music. Besides, it's cool. Different from talking about lemons and limes, right? I didn't mind it then. Maybe this is the time you mind it. Well, I haven't gotten up yet, have I? He almost scoffs, but relents. You hadn't, and hadn't given him any reason for pause before. He relaxes back into the seat, the fabric of his hoodie bunching up where he slouches. Again, not wearing a hoodie. Yeah, because you like staring at me instead, right? What? No, I don't. He chuckles, very obviously convinced. Sure. You know who's playing right now? Okay, now you sound like an ass. Do you like this band? Name 10 of their albums. Definitely not the same thing. Have you tried talking to them? The band. Oh, what? Nope. It's just my opinion. I'm not a professional or anything, so it's not like I should tell them what to do or what they should sound like if that's what they want. It'd be kind of like telling a chef, hey, you could cook this better. Like, yeah, obviously, but you don't say it's somebody's face. Vince worries little curves into the tips of his calloused fingertips, burning them red. Maybe they'd like it. What do you mean? Like, maybe they'd appreciate it. You've been listening to them for a while. Well, yeah, you've been sitting next to me the whole time. You know that isn't what I mean. You don't think it'd sound, like, presumptuous or anything? Why would it? I'm just some guy. I've known them since they started, but that's kind of what it is. I don't know, I usually listen to more alt-rock. You hear the pause, the hitch of his breath as he considers his words. But you don't get to be picky about talent. You hear enough of a good thing, and I don't know, it's just good, you know? You end up liking it. He laughs, looking over at the group with the kind of fondness you'd imagine that he reserves only for people that he cares about. Kind and reverential. Vince grows characteristically quiet again, easing neatly into old habits as he listens, and the band switches to a different song. You don't recognize this one either. His brows furrow, the soft caramel of his eyes sharpening with renewed interest as he starts to mumble something again. For all of his worries, you wonder if he's considering it. It's obvious at a glance for you that he pays them careful attention. Not maybe just as a fan, but as someone who cares about the work they're putting out. What's the worst thing they could say if you do? That they didn't want my opinion and I should go fuck off? Dude, it's possible. I don't know them as people. No one normal is going to say that if you're being polite, and you're going to be polite. The worst thing that they could do is say thanks and ignore you. Isn't that worse? Is it better than not saying anything at all? Vince stares back at you, mouth half open as he tries to find the words for what he wants to say, before settling on a contemplative silence. At first you think you might have offended him, but he sits up. Words come one after another in that shy, ambling way that he always does. There's another act after this if you want to listen with me. She's a violinist. Pretty good for her age. You don't have to. Would it be nice if you did? Vince smiles warmly at you in open invitation, but it's clear that he doesn't aim to really keep you here if you don't want to be. Whether you answer or not, you suspect he'll still be here, just as he was before you arrived. Still, you see it in the slight slope of his shoulders as he goes back to listening. He's thinking about what you said, even if only for a little bit. When the band finishes up, he says goodbye with quiet reluctance, simply saying it's time to move on to the rest of his day. The sun is shining, the birds are singing, and... Mare, you've got to get your hands off my eyes. I can't see. There's a large bike with a minimum of 3 people on it, barreling straight at you.